This is the Puck Junk Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Puck Junk Hockey Podcast. I'm Sal Berry, and with me is Clemente Lisi. And today we're going to talk about 2025-26 Upper Deck Series 2 hockey cards. We're also going to talk about a couple of NHL legends who have hit new career milestones. And we're going to talk about a couple of coaches who were fired. We haven't done a show in about a month, so we got a little bit of catching up to do this episode. So even though some of this stuff is like, I don't want to say old news, but it's probably been talked about to death. But, you know, we didn't talk about it yet. So that's why you're here. You want to hear what we think about it. At least that's the hope, right, Clemente?
If you're tuning in, I would hope so, yes.
Yeah, like, oh no, these guys are going to talk about hockey. What have I gotten myself into, right? Yeah. Or,
yeah.
But I mean, this stuff is, it's relevant. It's not just like, the Rangers beat the Islanders in game 81 of the season. I know they're actually not playing the Islanders in game 81, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not like that. It's about like these guys that we've been watching a long time play, and we have a lot invested in them, either emotionally because we're fans of theirs or monetarily because we've invested in their hockey cards. I mean, I'm thinking, I don't really have much. All those guys are always like way out of my price range. Like I have a few Patrick Kanes, a few Alex Ovechkins, not a young gun, a few Sidney Crosby's, not a young gun, but you get the idea. So
well, I was also thinking about some of the coaches and some of their cards, maybe. So
oh yeah, that's true too. But
no, I don't think coaching, like whether you hired or fired, impacts your card. At least I don't think so. But
well, I mean, one of the coaches we're going to talk about is Patrick Waugh, and
correct.
Of course, this isn't going to affect the value of his rookie card any.
No,
if anything, it might make people think about his rookie card a little bit more and want to buy one than Patrick Waugh. I never got around to buying his card.
Or if you're younger, you're like, oh yeah, he was a big deal in the 80s. Maybe I should go try to get his card. So yeah, absolutely. Maybe it brings more awareness, like a death would do.
Right.
But otherwise, I agree with you. The stuff isn't old. It's just a matter of getting to it, reacting to it, and also kicking it forward and having sort of what's the future take on it too, because the hobby is always responsive to events, not, in many cases.
So how have you been? It's been about a month since we've last talked. So since we've last done an episode, but not for lack of trying. It was just like we couldn't get the stars to align.
Yes.
Like either you and me or me and Tim or you, me and Tim. As you can see, Tim is not here. He is busy with work. So those of you who are wondering, he's okay. He's just working for a living.
Yeah. And by the time you're listening to this, if you haven't filed your taxes in the United States, you're too late. So, so that's that reminder right there for those of you who are last minute filers. No, to say I was busy is sort of kind of silly because we're always busy, but I have been busy. A couple things going on. One, I've been kind of, I think for 3 straight magazines, I've had stories in Sports Collectors Digest. So in the last 3 magazines. So things do get always a little busier, I think, for me, hobby-wise, in the spring and leading up to the National. And because there's more hobby news, I think, leading up to the National in some cases. So we had the gold medal for the U.S. men's and women's, which, by the way, really feels like a long time ago now. But it's not that long ago, but it feels like a long time ago. So yeah, it's been really busy. Of course, preparing for the National. And then one other thing, the update of my World Cup book actually was released on March 19th.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. So I should plug it here. The World Cup, a history of the planet's biggest sporting event. If you're wondering what World Cup, it's the Soccer World Cup, which, maybe there's many soccer fans out there who also like hockey. So it's worth mentioning here. And also and it's going to be held in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So that brings the World Cup back to the U.S. for the first time since 94. Which is ironic because there's so much 90s nostalgia now in general. It's kind of funny to talk about bringing the World Cup back. Just a coincidence that worked out that way. But let's talk about World Cups. Also gets me excited about the World Baseball Classic, which just happened. It gets me excited about a future Hockey World Cup again. So I do like international competition. I feel like in soccer, international competition is a big deal. It is also in hockey, but it doesn't get the unless you're at the Olympics, it doesn't get the attention it deserves, which I'm always a big fan of international sports. So hopefully soccer's World Cup kind of rubs off a little bit on all the other sports that we love in the US.
Yeah, no. Hey, congratulations on
Thank you.
the updated version of your book. Is this also going to be hardcover or soft cover?
This is soft cover because it's an update. It's currently 48 in the soccer books category on Amazon, which is the highest it's been. So it's
Wow.
exciting. The World Cup starts June 11th, so it's a bit of a leeway to it. So it's nice to see people interested in the book. The other thing that's interesting about books, the way they work, is that because the World Cup is coming to the US and Canada and Mexico, there's like 1 million soccer books this year. So I'm competing with a lot more people than I did 4 years ago, which I guess happens. And I guess that'll happen again in the future for other sports. There's always like going to be, if a big event is coming, like the Olympics are going to be in Los Angeles in 2 years, Summer Olympics. I'm sure there'll be a flood of Olympic books coming out like around that time because it's front of mind. That's all. But it's interesting because 4 years ago, I pretty much had, it was me and like maybe 5 other books, 10 other books. This year, I noticed there's 1 million of them, and I'm kind of trying to read all of them myself. So I've been busy reading lots of books myself. I think I think, Sal, same thing for you. Like when you're a writer, you're always reading other people because you're just curious as how other people do it, and you always want to learn. And so when I read other books, I'm always like, oh, a great sentence. That's a great paragraph. Like that's a great chapter. Like I wish I knew that story. Like you're always looking at other people's work and wondering, like, that's a great story. You're not jealous. It just kind of like, it just makes you work that much harder. I guess it's like sports, right? You're always trying to compete with other people. And same thing for magazine writing or newspaper writing or anything that you do, podcasts, whatever you're doing out there. It's always a matter of like, can you do it better? And I always feel like I get better at what I do because I'm trying to absorb everyone else's work. So,
without making this podcast into something that's like wholly academic, but
which we could easily do.
Which we could easily do as both of us being teachers and both of us being writers. But when I read any hockey book, I'm not so much looking at like the sentence structure or stuff like that. Like you might be like, I'm not looking at it at that level. I'm more just trying to get the information because that's the thing. Like, I feel like the more I mean, obviously it's like a proven fact, like the more you read, the more you know. And so that's the thing. So like, I'm always looking to just learn new things. I mean, I love player autobiographies, even a lot of times they're kind of like glossed and sugar coated a little bit. I mean, depending on the player, some players are a little more honest with what happened or what they did or what they didn't do or what they should have done or maybe something bad that they did, and the highs and the lows, and other players just kind of like it's just very like it's just like cotton candy, you know what I mean? Like when I read Curtis Joseph's book, I wanted to cry because he grew up poor. I mean, he had a foster mother who basically was a drug addict, and but his real mother was also an addict, and he grew up being poor and talked about like sleeping on a mattress that like the cat peed on. And so like just remember being 6 years old and like flipping the mattress over so that he'd be sleeping on like a dry side and stuff like that. And you read that and you're like, oh my God, what a horrible, oh my God, I'm so happy you had like a career and found happiness and made money and have a good, you know what I mean? Like you read that and you don't know these sorts of things necessarily. I mean, if you grow up really following the player, you pick up on this, but that's kind of more like what my interest is. Usually, if anything, though, when like somebody writes like a really good like lead into a story, I'm like, oh damn, why didn't I think of that? That's always what it is. It's like, oh, cool. They had me thinking they were going to talk about one thing, but then they talked about it, but then they changed the focus to another thing, or they told this really cool story, or they really made it kind of abstract but interesting. And I'm like, why am I not that creative? So I don't really like.
I know what you mean. I mean, I agree with you. The gathering of information, I'm always like absorbing as much as I can when I'm reading books in general, if they're about politics or wars or hockey or soccer, whatever it is. A lot of times sports books do intersect with history and politics, and that's always interesting. And like Ken Reed, for example, who writes a lot of hockey books, I really like the way he writes. And he's a lot of fun. He tells great stories, and I have spoken to him. We met him at the Expo a couple of years ago, and he's like just an engaging person. And that some people know how to tell a story, and that's what I like to do, tell stories. So that's always fun. And I agree with you in terms of the information, but then I also think about the structure and about, or I'll look at the bibliography and I'm like, this person really read a lot of books or a lot of articles to get, because we've done the research, we know it's a lot of work. And so just stuff like that is, always super cool. And so I've been doing a lot of that, every night, trying to read as much as I can. And, with the World Cup coming here, and then, with the national coming, and trying to keep up on the hobby. It's always busy. We're going to talk about the hobby soon enough, but there's always something going on, right? So it's always really busy.
Yeah, I mean, just me in just a 30-second overview. My school quarter started, so I had to start. So I started a new round of classes, so I had to get prepped for that, and then we had the Easter holiday. So I just had like a week. I had things going on, and like we tried meeting up. It's funny because like if you watch the video version of this podcast, I have like PowerPoint slides that I show with like card images and stuff. And like every week I kept updating it. Like, okay, I'm going to add more to it. Oh, I got to revise this information. We're going to record this week. Oh, we're not going to record this week. And then the next week. And I kept making revisions. And, okay, it's not happening this week. But so, yeah, I mean, we just do the best we can. I mean, we're doing this because we love to do it, not because we're getting, $50,000 an episode or whatever Fanatics pays. I'm kidding. I don't know about that.
We should say full disclosure. We were updating the slides up until like 20 seconds before the show started. So we were just like, oh, Clemente's like, oh, we should put that in. I'm like, yeah, why not? I could put that in. So it's fresh. It's fresh stuff is what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah. I mean, even though it's old news, but it's a new take on old news. So here's what's on the agenda for today. We still want to talk about Alex Ovechkin reaching and going past 1,000 career NHL goals. That's between regular season and playoffs, because, I mean, look, it isn't every day a player scores 1,000 goals, even if you combine the playoff goals. So we got to talk about that. We're going to talk about Sidney Crosby moving into 7th all-time in points. We're going to talk about Patrick Kane, who is now the all-time leading scorer among American players. We're going to talk about the firing of Patrick Waugh and Bruce Cassidy by their respective teams. Coaches get hired and fired all the time, and they got fired a couple of weeks ago, but we still want to talk about it because I feel like these are relevant. And then we're going to talk about Upper Deck Series 2. So Ovechkin reaching 1,000 total NHL goals, combining regular season and the playoffs, right? So from 2005, 2006 to 25-26 through 78 games. Actually, probably a little bit more than that now. Maybe I think it's through 80 games, but whatever. Around there. He's at 929 regular season and 77 playoff goals. So he's got 1,006 goals total. That's an average of 47.9 goals per season. And I mean, that's counting that short lockout season from 2012-13. That's counting that truncated season because of COVID-19 in 2019-20. So, I mean, and anytime he was like injured or whatever, sometimes he got suspended here and there. I mean, he didn't actually get injured that much, but Ovechkin, I mean, almost, 48 goals a season for 21 years. That's crazy. And then just like, so what's left? That's the other thing. Cause like when a player breaks a record, then the obvious question is like, are there any records left to break? Right. And we talked about this a while back when Ovechkin beat or broke Gretzky's regular season goal scoring record. So if Ovechkin got to 940 regular season goals, he will have eclipsed Gretzky's record for professional goals if you counted his 46 goals in the World Hockey Association. Now, the NHL Guide and Record Book, which I know that's not a thing anymore. So the NHL does not recognize WHA stats. Hockey cards don't even show WHA stats anymore. I used to love, Clemente, do you remember when like those the Topps and O-Pee-Chee cards would show like the players' NHL totals, and then if they had WHA stats, it'd show their WHA totals?
Yeah, in the 80s, there was a lot of players like that. So
yeah,
no, and I guess once the Players Association got into the licensing agreement with Upper Deck and whoever else, I guess that became like a big no-no is my guess. They were like, well, we don't recognize that and we don't need to put them on the cards. Plus, over time, obviously, the players weren't in the league anymore. But you're right, if you're going to remake a card of like Gretzky or Messier or whatever, a player from that era, you might want to mention the fact that they might have been in WHA, but they don't. So yeah, you're right about that. So they don't count those. But but in Ovechkin's case, you don't count the goals he scored in the Russian league either, right? So,
yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point.
So you have whatever, it all kind of ends up in the wash, cleans out in the wash, as I say. But despite that, these numbers are staggering, and I agree. Like looking at what's left to see, like, how much more can he eclipse Gretzky? I don't think he needs to. He can retire at the end of the season and end it here, and people would still put him. I hate the Mount Rushmore thing. I hate that, but he definitely would be, held in high esteem. He's a sure Hall of Famer here. I feel like he's a spike in the football at this point, and let's not forget the Capitals have a chance of making the playoffs, I think, still. So we might see some postseason numbers as well from him.
So, the other thing too is that a couple nights ago when the Capitals and the Penguins played for the last time this season, Crosby went to shake his hand and then wanted his teammates to shake Ovechkin's hand, and Ovi was like, nah, like he waved him off. He was just like, nah, we're not doing that. So I think that means he's going to be back.
Yeah, I mean, look, I kind of wish he had shake people's other players' hands, but I also feel like on the plus side, that's him being a competitor, and he just and part of it is this hatred, quotes hatred for, But it's funny because we're going to talk about Crosby next. Ovechkin and Crosby are almost like they're two sides of the same coin. They've in many ways, and so it's interesting that they both are putting up big numbers, and the longevity these players have is truly amazing. It must be because of modern medicine or whatever, but these guys are playing deep into their careers now, and it's great to see. But I do think hobby-wise, it does do something interesting, which is it doesn't allow for more players to enter the hobby space. I feel like a broken record, but I just feel like, and maybe it's because of people that collect hockey sort of peripherally, not like us. They only really looking for four names. It's Gretzky, it's Ovechkin, it's McDavid, and it's Crosby, and then that's really it. And then it's like all the other ones come and go, flavor of the month kind of thing. Right. If someone breaks a record, and that kind of always annoys me and this happens in every sport. I understand that it's always like 4 or 5 players in each sport. I just wish there were many more players that people would collect, and maybe not like us, we collect everybody in sets and all that, but I'm saying people that dip in and dip out, like Connor Bedard. You don't even hear anyone mention him anymore. Like, it's like, okay, what was all that about? And I guess now it's just the diehards are left. But so that bothers me a little bit. But having said that, these guys are breaking records, and I say it all the time, and I'll say it again: the Young Guns card gets harder and harder to get at this point.
And that's why, a couple of years back, I started picking up other Ovechkin rookie cards because I'm just like, well, I might never get a Young Gun. That's okay. There's a lot of things I'm never going to get. So I just, if you want a rookie card and you want the Young Gun, you'll find a way to get it. You'll buy it. You'll save, sure. You'll buy it, whatever. You'll make some trades. You'll do the 1 cent challenge. And then in 3 months, you'll have a Young Gun, right? Or whatever the YouTubers or a TikToker is telling you, right? Like, oh, I got this card, right? Anyway. But the thing is that if you're just like, well, no, I could live without it, but I still want like a first-year card. You know what I mean? Like,
and there's plenty of those. There's plenty of them.
Plenty of those, and they can be had fairly cheaply. And, the analogy I like to give, not that I'm giving investing advice because that's not what we do here. But do you remember the LeBron James Topps? I believe it was his Topps rookie card where he's holding up the jersey. He had just been drafted.
Yes. Yeah.
And you probably remember when that was like a $5 card.
Right.
And then a $10 card, and then a $15 card, and then a $50 card. And that card just kept going up because people would say, I want a LeBron James rookie card, but I can't afford whatever the high end one, Panini Exquisite or Upper Deck
whatever.
Logo Man autograph, right? You go, all right, I can't afford that, but I could afford, $15 for a LeBron rookie. But then that LeBron rookie, that's $15. Everybody wants it. Then it becomes $50 and it goes up. And last I looked, it was like a $200 card. Now, again, don't quote me on this. I'm not giving investing advice, and maybe it's gone up, maybe it's gone down. I don't really buy basketball cards. I don't want a LeBron rookie card. And now if one fell into my lap, I'd certainly be happy with it. But you get my meaning, right? Like, I hate to say rising tide raises all ships, but I mean, the thing is that the people who want an Ovechkin card or a rookie card, they'll settle, or they'll just choose to buy a different one.
Well, the other thing too is that the Young Guns, and we're going to talk about Young Guns later, right? But their institution in terms of the rookie card in hockey. But the truth is, I've seen this with the Michael Jordan rookie card Fleer. All of a sudden, people are looking for alternatives to that and pumping other rookie year cards. So you just never know in this Ovechkin Crosby, for example, you never know when at some point someone says, well, you know what? It's actually going to be, this is the one that everybody wants. If one YouTuber says that, then there'll be a run on that card. And people might put the Young Guns one aside for a second, that kind of thing. So you just never know. But I agree with you. Get what you can afford, get what you like. And oftentimes that card symbolizes that player in your collection, and that's okay too. And then you never know. The Young Guns card could at some point level off, or you could save for it. I mean, because the truth is, I'd rather save my money and buy an Ovechkin Young Guns than the people that bought that Bedard Young Guns early on. Like,
right.
Okay, why would you do that when you can buy a sure thing? This is a sure thing. Ovechkin's a sure thing. This is a total speculation, but I think because I wish Tim was here, it's that adrenaline of like the kind of the gambling urge of like speculating on it and then seeing it go up or down like a stock. That's exciting. Ovechkin is not exciting. It's like it'll go up $5 or $10 or $100, but it's really pretty much already where it's going to be. And that's basically it, as opposed to the excitement that comes with speculating on Young Guns, like some of the ones that we're going to talk about in Series 2. We don't know what they can do. They can break a leg and never play again. And it's like, oh, well, that was fun. I guess that's over, and so, so there's ways to get the cards you want. It's just a matter of deciding what you want to buy and not buy. And that's basically it. And, as I've collected more and more, I feel like I'm more of a quality over quantity. When you're like 8 years old and someone gives you 100 cards, that's awesome because you're looking for as many as you can get. But as you get older, you're like, I don't need 100 junk cards. I need one great one. And sometimes it's a matter of personality. People like volume. That's just the way we are. But I'd rather get the better stuff and let the other stuff go, or collect sets. And that's okay too, because then you get everything. Yeah. You try to get everything, but then you put it in a binder. That's fine. But it's a matter of, I mentioned that because I do think every time we talk about these players and their records, inevitably people are like, yeah, but that Young Guns card's impossible to get, that kind of thing. And it's like, okay, maybe it's impossible to get, but there's ways around it, I feel like, because like you said, Ovechkin and Crosby, that rookie year, there were a lot of rookie year cards, inserts, other sets. It's kind of funny about the Young Guns, not to belabor the point, but I feel like the pinnacle of the hobby in hockey is the rookie patch auto.
Yep.
It's not the Young Guns. In a lot of ways, Young Guns is much more attainable because the rookie patch auto goes for thousands and thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, and maybe more, depending on how good the player is. That's really the pinnacle. And I don't own any rookie patch autos from the Cup. I own none. Like, I don't have any. Though that one card I did have, I think at the Expo a couple of years ago, I ended up selling, right? So that I bought from a box, for $70 or $50, whatever it was. So ultimately, that's not what I'm chasing. I'm not chasing that. Some people are chasing that. That's high end. I think the Young Guns, we're still talking about low end stuff here, especially if you're talking about just the base Young Guns card.
Yeah, but it's like the top of the low end.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It is.
Or the bottom of the high end. I mean, high end. I don't even like to say that because what's here? I got a riddle for you, or maybe a joke. What's the difference between Upper Deck Series 1 and MVP?
I I don't know if you talk about hobby box, maybe about $200.
Yeah, the price point. That's it. If you closed your eyes and I handed you an MVP card in one hand and a Young Gun in the other hand, and I said, "Don't look, but just feel the card." Yeah. Oh no, if I gave you an OPG card in one hand and an Upper Deck card in the other hand, and I said which is which, you'd probably be able to guess, right?
Yes, it's funny you say OPG because for a long time I always not preferred in the sense that I would get one over the other, but the way it's designed, the marquee rookie to me looks a lot nicer than many Young Guns cards.
No, but I mean, like the OPG card doesn't have gloss on it.
No. I mean,
it's low gloss, so you can feel the difference. But like all the Upper Deck cards, I mean, they're full color front and back. They're UV coated both sides. MVP, Victory, Upper Deck Series 1. I mean, there's going to be differences in like Flare Ultra. I mean,
some bells and whistles on these.
It's all pretty much the same. The only difference is they decide to make these $2.99 a pack and these $12.99 a pack. And so I don't know. But, getting back to Ovechkin before we move on. So, if he gets to 940 regular season goals, so that's Gretzky's record. So 941 would be to break that. Gretzky has 1,016 total NHL goals between the regular season and the playoffs. So Ovechkin could definitely break that one. He could definitely break. I mean, another season, he could have, over 940 regular season goals, and he could have over 1,016 total goals. And then if he gets to 1,072, which might take him 2 years, but then he will have basically eclipsed all the regular season and playoff goals that Gretzky scored in the NHL and in the World Hockey Association. And, you made a really good point. None of Ovechkin's Russian League stuff counts in his statistics. So, Gretzky's WHA stats don't really count. I think this is just more of unofficial records, though. I mean, it's just like, what else can they do? You know what I mean? Okay.
And keep in mind that the Hockey Hall of Fame is international. So they will count everything in their mind. Not that Ovechkin is like a doubt. I mean, to me, he's somebody bringing the Hall of Fame as soon as you can. Kind of like Gretzky. Like,
right.
You wave it off and you say, after 1 year you're in, because who are we kidding? I mean,
right. I mean, the 3-year wait period is just
it's silly for a player like Ovechkin. But I'm sure, and maybe they won't waive it because they want to leave. Gretzky is going to be always immortal in that sense. He's the great one. But I will say Ovechkin is mighty close.
Speaking of mighty close, then we got Sidney Crosby, who is now 7th all-time in points. So Crosby passed Steve Yzerman, another all-time great, and is now 7th all-time in NHL regular season points. He's also the leading scorer among active NHL players. So, Ovechkin has the most goals of all time, but Crosby has more points. I mean, he's got 654 goals, 1,107 assists. That's ridiculous. Over 1,000 assists.
Well, okay, so to play devil's advocate, you could say that Crosby is the complete player compared to Ovechkin. Ovechkin scores goals, yes. He scores them often from the same position. I mean, he's got a thing, routine that that pretty much we sort of know when he's going to score with that slap shot and all that. But here we're talking about a player who, I always thought in hockey having a high number of assists, and maybe because I grew up watching Gretzky and watching him pile on assists, to me shows that you're an amazing player. You're not greedy, and you're a complete team player. And the question, I guess, is Crosby better than Lemieux? Is he better than Yager? If you're a Penguins fan, and we don't have Tim here, but maybe at a future podcast we can debate this. He's getting to a point where he's putting up the points, and he's gone through a patch where the Penguins were not making the playoffs. But I always kind of want the Penguins in the playoffs because I know that watching Crosby play is super amazing. I saw Penguins play the Devils. Was it 2 years ago? My brother-in-law just happened to get Devils tickets. I'm sorry, not the Devils, the Islanders, and it was in the new arena, which I guess was a few years old at that point. And we went, and I'm a Rangers fan, so I was rooting for the Penguins, and my daughter was with me, and I said, I pointed to Crosby, I'm like, keep an eye on that guy. And I think the Penguins ended up winning like 7-1 or something. It was great, and it was just like when Crosby starts putting a beating on you, it could be bad. So yeah, to me, complete player, awesome to watch. In a lot of ways, got a second bounce with this new generation because people were comparing Bedard to him. And so remember in the marketing for the league, you can tell Crosby was kind of getting a second bump and got a lot of attention, and his card values did go up a little bit during the same time as Bedard's did.
Well, it wasn't accidental that they had Bedard's first game on the road in Pittsburgh, and that Crosby and Bedard took the opening face-off that game.
Right.
And even like the referee was like, "Welcome to the 23-24 season." We did a little speech before he dropped the puck.
Right.
Which then Crosby cleanly won that face-off. But, just one thing I'll say about Crosby really quick before we get to the stats, but just thinking about him internationally really quick. Of course, you got to think about the golden goal in 2010 Olympics. But honest to God, if Crosby was not injured in the Winter Olympics, Canada would have won the gold medal.
I have to agree with that.
Because the thing is like, he's a game breaker, and McDavid. Look, all the teams had really good players, and obviously Jack Hughes might end up being like. Obviously we don't look at Jack Hughes at the same way we look at Crosby, right? But he's obviously a very talented player. But what I'm saying though is that if you look like when not World Cup of Hockey, Four Nation face-off, when McDavid scored that overtime goal, you were probably like, damn it. And then you were probably like, well, of course it was McDavid. You know what I mean? Like, of course, right? But if Crosby had scored it, you would have been like, of course it was Crosby, right? Like, he's just one of those players that like, so if they had Crosby and McDavid on their 3-on-3 unit, that would not have been good for USA. So that's why, like, I was happy about the Olympics. But when I see, like, I'm on this one Facebook group called, I don't even know if I want to give it away, give it a shout out, but it's basically like, it's a lot of trash talking, but in good fun, this one particular group. But, there was just a lot of people trash talking after USA won the gold medal. And it was like, hey, buddy, chill, right? Like, yes, the United States won the gold medal, but Canada did not have its best team.
Right.
They did not have their best players. Now, you know what? It's about winning that game at that time with the players who are there, right? It's about who's there, right? But anyway, so just wanted to say that. Yeah. So, no, I never wanted to see Crosby injured, but, the fact that he was injured, no, that just worked out for the U.S. I think somebody jokingly said that maybe they should give Radko Gudas a gold medal as well. But if you look at this list here, Crosby is just, he's just gonna jump up this all-time scoring leader chart, because he's 11 points away from passing the great Marcel Dion, and then he'd be sixth, and then he's 38 points away until he passes Ron Francis. So
he might surpass Marcel Dion. Well, maybe not this season, but close.
Next season,
he might also surpass Ron Francis.
Definitely.
And then he's got to have a super great season to surpass Gordie Howe.
I haven't looked at Crosby's stats lately, and maybe 90 points is a little lofty, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not,
but if he plays 3 more years, we're talking about maybe he gets close to Yager.
Yeah, well, yeah. 3 more years. At like, let me pull up
without any injuries
here.
Yeah, without any injuries and at the same clip, which is harder to do as you get older. But we can be talking about here maybe 4th, 5th all time, maybe even better than that. So that's extraordinary.
23-24, Crosby had 94 points. 24-25, Crosby had 91 points. 25-26, he has 74 points in 68 games as of this recording. So 70 points is,
Yeah.
So, he could, in 2 seasons, he could probably pass Messier, and then he would just be right, 3rd all time. You'd have, and then if he got 161 points, he'd pass Jaromir Jagr. And if he got 1,097 points, he would pass Gretzky. And that ain't happening.
No,
And that's
but
okay.
that's okay. But yeah, that tells you a little bit about Gretzky. But these players had longevity. We're talking about Gretzky, Jagr, and Messier, and Gordie Howe, of course. They had longevity. They played for a long time, and so they put up big numbers. And same thing with Crosby. It's pretty extraordinary.
Yeah, it's I think we're all going to be sad when Crosby retires because I mean we think about our childhood, right? And our childhood heroes, and we grow up, they retire, and we kind of get sad to see them retire. But look at someone like Crosby when he came into the league. I mean, he came into the league when I was 30, right? And I mean, 30 is not young, right? But
No.
now he's going to retire, and I'm going to be like, damn, I'm old because now somebody that started in the league when I was 30, and like, you know, my 30s, my 40s, you know, like I don't see the good years, you know what I mean? But like your adulthood, right? Now it's like you're going to start feeling nostalgic for like being 30 again, like 2005, that was good times, you know, right?
It's interesting because like I've interviewed lots of athletes in my life, and there was a time when I did interview them, we were basically peers. And now I can be like, when I go to the rookie showcase, I'm like, wow, I can be this guy's father now. And then when they ask them, like, who'd you grow up watching? They will say stuff like Ovechkin, or they'll say something like, you know, McDavid. And it's like,
Right.
wow, I was already old.
Right.
By then. So, which is interesting because if someone asked me that question, I would say Gretzky. These people haven't even seen Gretzky.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I remember I was talking with one guy who was like, he claimed to be a hockey fan. And I think he was BSing me. And I said, who's your favorite player? He's like, oh, Gretzky was my favorite player of all time. And I looked at him and I said, dude, Gretzky like retired when you were like 4 years old. There's no way he was your favorite. Yeah, no, he was just like, he just threw out a name, you know, like when people say, oh yeah, my favorite baseball player was Mickey Mantle. And it's like, what?
Right. Unless you're 110 years old, you can't say
right. Well, no, I mean, the boomers are not 110 years old, but
they were really young if that was the case. You know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So will be exciting to see next year to see Crosby move up from 7th to 6th and into 5th and maybe 4th, or you know, maybe not.
I guess the question for you, though, the question for you is: do you think? Well, I guess I have a couple of questions, but one is Ovechkin and Crosby both are with the same team for a long time. I think that is rewarded in hockey. So that's one thing. And then also, do you think Crosby gets more attention because he is Canadian and the North American athletes, players get more attention than a Russian would? What do you think?
100%. 100% agree with that. I mean, I remember reading old Beckett articles where they talked about Crosby versus Ovechkin, and they had like player like they'd ask the fans to write in back when people would write in or post on the message board, and they would, you know, republish that, and they would, you know, like just basically try to paint a picture. And I mean, the thing is that look, it's like this, like the Canadian guy is going to be more popular among Canadian people, and the American guy is going to be more popular among American people, and the Russian guy is going to be more popular among Russian people. That's just how it is, right? Like, and now, I mean, the thing is that like you can transcend that as a fan, right? Like you could say, well, I'll give you like a for instance. Like I always said, you know, like 15 years ago, I'd say Crosby is the most popular player in the NHL, but I think Ovechkin is the best player. Well, let me actually rephrase that. He was the player that I like watching more, but yeah, Crosby's the more complete player, but I wasn't excited to watch Crosby. I was always excited to watch Ovechkin. You know what I mean? It's like, so yeah, I mean, I think that
regardless of nationality, you're saying, regardless
I mean,
of that.
If Ovechkin doesn't break Gretzky's record, do people want his Young Guns card as bad? Or does he just become another star? Like you look at like another good Russian player, Andrei Vasilevsky, right? Like his Young Gun is up there, but it's not up there,
Sure.
or
Sure.
but Sergei Bobrovsky, okay, another goaltender. I'm trying to think of a non-goaltender, right? But like you look at how people like talk about Chris Pronger or Scott Stevens versus like Sergei Gonchar, right? All are in the Hall of Fame. Maybe comparing Gonchar to those two, they're very physical defensemen. But you get my point, right?
Yeah, no, I think it transcends their nationality because I do think people care about the teams they play for and that fan base. Like
yes,
in
Washington,
and I think right, people care about Ovechkin.
When you stick with one team, I obviously that almost never happens anymore. But
no,
I feel like when a player gets traded, that hurts their collectability.
It does. I think it does. Yeah.
I feel like if Crosby ended up on another team, maybe if it was kind of like a thing where he's like, guys, I want to play one more year, and their Penguins are like, no, kind of like Mike Modano with the Dallas Stars, and he wanted to play, and that's okay. So then he went to Detroit, right? Pretty much didn't do anything in Detroit other than fulfill a childhood dream of playing for the Red Wings, but like that didn't really hurt his like collectability, right? But you look at I know Eric Lindros played for the Rangers, and you're a Rangers fan, but if he had just stuck with Philly his whole career, I feel like maybe it wouldn't matter. I mean, it was more the injury was more than anything that changed the trajectory.
I'll say this about players changing teams. I do think it's a more recent, like 5-10 year thing in the hobby because no one thinks Gretzky is less collectible because he bounced around.
But Gretzky's Gretzky.
Okay, but there's other guys too. I mean, you said Lindros, but it's not because of the numbers and the playing style and everything else. It's not, and it's not because of he bounced around. I mean, look at Jágr. He bounced around, and it doesn't matter. He's a great player, so I think you can transcend that. But if you're like average to above average, it might not be enough. If you bounce around too much, I mean, I look at Mark Messier. Like people love Mark Messier in New York, obviously. But his values in general are not super high,
right?
Even though he's very talented, very, very talented player. Played with the Oilers, won a lot there, but then he won that cup in New York. That's historic, and Rangers fans love him. And he's almost like they treat him like as if he was a lifetime Ranger, but he's not. But that's because of a unique moment in time. But his cards don't show that. Don't reflect that at all. And we can name lots of players like that. I mean, but so it's interesting. I do think staying with one team, like look at Bedard. If he were to stay with the Blackhawks for 15 years, even if he never lived up to the hype, his cards would be worth more, I think, because he's in one place, one market. So, we'll see. I mean, I also think if you move around, and this is a great segue for the next player we're going to talk about.
Yep.
I do think it does impact your collectability as we talk about Patrick Kane next.
Patrick Kane now has the most points by an American. He surpassed Brett Hull. So regular season points by an American, Patrick Kane is now number one. A few more assists, Kane will have eclipsed Phil Housley for the most assists. Kane currently has 891 assists. Phil Housley had 894 assists in his career. And then as far as goals go, Kane's got 508 goals. He could surpass Jeremy Roenick next season. Roenick had 513 goals. Keith Tkachuk had 538 goals. Don't really see Kane being a 30-goal scorer. I mean, it's possible. Yet he's been scoring at about a clip of 0.85 points per game. So I guess that's 8 points every 10 games, give or take. So but like as far as like Tkachuk, 538 goals, Modano, 561 goals, and then Brett Hull, 741 goals. I think Brett Hull's 741 goals all time by an American. I think that's safe, but especially since you consider that Patrick Kane is 37 years old, and I mean, probably play. I think he's got I don't know how long his contract is, but the thing is that if Patrick Kane wants to play until he's 40, he'll play until he's 40. Maybe not with Detroit, but like what team wouldn't say, yeah, we'll sign you for a season or 2 seasons, Yeah,
let's say he's got 2 years left in the contract. I can see the last season being anywhere. And you're right. who wouldn't pick him up for 1 year, and then at 40 you can retire, but that seems like a reasonable thing to do.
Right.
I mean, Kane's a great athlete, great player. I do think he's a sure Hall of Famer. And I also think that in Chicago he's going to be beloved forever. You know this better than me because you sell his cards. There's demand for them, I would think.
Well, what's funny is that when Kane was traded to the Rangers,
but that
nobody
was
wanted his card.
But that was not amicable. That was bad.
Well, and nobody wanted his cards. It kind of got to a point where his stuff stopped selling. Like, you still had the people who collected him no matter what. I'm not going to say that it stopped selling. I'm talking about my experiences selling at card shows in Chicago, where people weren't interested. I mean, because he had 23, 24. So let's see. They traded him to the Rangers. And then the Hawks drafted Bedard. So then everybody wanted Bedard, even if it was a junior league card or a Team Canada card or whatever, right? Like, that became their focus. And like, people stopped collecting him. Or at least from what I saw, nobody was really asking for his stuff. Now, I think that he's been away from the Blackhawks a little bit, and he's doing pretty good with Detroit. I've seen people start buying his cards again because they know that he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. So that marquee rookie that's been sitting in my display case for 3 shows, I mean, I sold it last show, right? Or a victory rookie or something like that. Like, his rookie cards are starting to sell. His other cards are starting to sell. His autographs are starting to sell. I feel like a lot of like Chicago area fans are over the fact that he's now playing for Detroit. They're not holding a grudge, kind of like they did with Chris Chelios. Like, oh, he's with Detroit. Terrible, right? Like,
I guess the question is, do you think the Blackhawks will retire his number?
Yeah,
and I think he's going to end up signing at future shows in Chicago. He might be a regular at that point.
I don't know if he'll sign. I mean, I feel like guys who've made so much money during their career, they don't really need to sign autographs, and so they don't.
That is true, right? That is true.
Like, how many signings does Gretzky and Jordan do?
Oh, well,
Michael Jordan in basketball.
Well, maybe they're bad examples because they're locked up with Upper Deck. But I know what you mean. Like, when you're into that tier, you don't need to do it unless you have some kind of crazy lifestyle you need to maintain. But
yeah, you need to be like Tom Brady, and so you need to charge $300,
right? Which is ridiculous. But maybe what I'm saying is I think he's going to be beloved in Chicago pretty much forever, despite the way he left, and then also playing for the Red Wings, which make him a rival. But I think he did so much in Chicago that persists. And maybe you never know. Maybe he comes back for 1 more year. You never know. He retires with the Blackhawks. You never know.
For that one game, one more shift.
Could be.
I mean, I think, you know what? Yes, they'll retire his number. The Blackhawks kind of released this criteria for jersey retirement. And I don't remember all the ins and outs of it, but they were basically like, it was kind of like must have spent the majority of their career with the Blackhawks and must have had like the majority of their accomplishment with the Blackhawks. Which, I mean,
for now that is true. That remains true.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's fine. I mean, he's even if he wins a cup elsewhere, it's not like the 3 cups that he won in Chicago.
No.
It was,
unless he won one for the Rangers, then it would be like, winning a cup for the Rangers is like winning 5. So, but he tried that already, didn't work. So that's not happening in New York.
So the cost of rent is 5 times, and the winning the Stanley Cup counts as 5 times.
I mean, you think Mark Messier is buying a beer in New York? I don't think so.
No, I mean, and
he's Mark Messier. He can do whatever he wants in New York.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. No, but I'm saying is that's what I think he means to Chicago. And I think as long as he's playing and as long as they're producing cards of him and memorabilia and autographs, you're going to probably end up selling them because I think there's a demand for him. And he will climb these charts. I mean, for the longest time, I thought maybe Brett Hull would be impossible to eclipse. And here we are. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I agree. Funny too, because like some people, like the people who want to like discredit Brett Hull as being American, I mean, his siblings were born in the United States.
Well, I've heard people say that the best American player ever is Mike Modano, and I guess people who say that are trying to take a dig at Brett Hull.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that Brett's siblings were born in the US, either in Chicago, or I think one of his brothers was born in LA or in California. And I mean, his mother's like from Chicago or like Oak Park or something, a suburb of Chicago. You know what I mean? Like it's like, okay, so if you were born in Canada, but your mother's American and all your siblings are American and you grew up in the United States, well, you're American. You know what I mean? Despite what
You are. I mean,
certain people
John
try to
McCain.
say.
Yeah, John McCain was born in the Panama Canal Zone, which was
Okay.
ironic because between him and Obama, he actually was the one born outside the U.S., but because his parents were both Americans, and he's American.
Right.
So, so I say ironically because everyone thought Obama was the one that was born outside the U.S. It really was John McCain. But what I'm saying, same thing with Brett Hull. Brett Hull also did suit up for the USA, and he's this famous upper deck card of him in the USA jersey. So, Brett Hull's American. I mean, stop it. Like,
yeah, stop it. Yeah,
exactly. What are we doing here? Are we debating this stuff now? But no, it's great because it's interesting to see these guys break records of players that we did see play. We remember these players, so it is interesting to see. And it's funny because other generations didn't quite surpass them. I think, look, when he surpasses Roenick, which could be even this week, I guess.
Right.
That would be another milestone because Roenick is, beloved by many and also in the Hall of Fame.
All right, so we want to talk a little bit about some of the coaches who got fired recently, Patrick Waugh and Bruce Cassidy. So just to give just a quick recap of that. So the Islanders fired Patrick Waugh as head coach on April 5th. The Isles were just out of the playoff picture with 4 games left, but they're now out of the playoff picture. And he coached the Islanders from January 20th, 2024 to April 3rd, 2026. So just over 2 years. His record with the Islanders was 97, 78, and 22. And his record with the Avalanche was 130, 92, and 24. So that's what happened there. Oh, he was replaced by Peter DeBoer, whereas Bruce Cassidy was fired on March 29th by the Vegas Golden Knights. He was replaced with John Tortorella. The Knights struggled since the Olympic break. Cassidy had a pretty good record. 181 wins, 99 losses, 43 overtime losses over 4 seasons. And of course, the Stanley Cup. Was that in 22?
Yeah.
Or let me think. 21 was 20 and 21 was 22 was
22.
Yeah. So
thoughts.
Oh yeah, and then I'm sorry. Or was it 23? 22 was the Avs. 20 and 21 were the Bolts. 22, I think, was the Avalanche. 23 was the Golden Knights, and that's when they beat the Panthers. And then 24 and 25 was the Panthers.
You're right. He coached it. The Golden Knights signed him in 2022. He won the Cup in 23. So you're right about that.
Yeah.
My thoughts were not surprised. These are both really rigid. I mean, they're highly respected individuals, but they're also rigid, very direct with their players. And when teams don't do well, things start to spiral out of control, so they're a lot alike that way. I never thought either one was good for the position. I mean, in Patrick Waugh's case, I just thought the Islanders were just looking for a big name to put in there, and that's always seems like, oh, let's bring in a guy who's a name. Everyone knows this person, and he was a great goaltender, as if that's going to do anything to your team. I think the Islanders are in a rebuild, obviously. They have a couple of young players, including Schaefer, who's #1 draft pick. So they have a little bit of time. I don't think Patrick Waugh is that coach. So that's number one. Of course, he's replaced, I guess Peter was the assistant coach, is my guess, right? And but they're gonna have to go out and get another coach maybe next year.
No. Peter DeBoer, remember he coached the Stars last year.
Oh, okay. So he's gonna be their coach.
He pulled Jake Ottinger in Game 7 when they got eliminated. He replaced him. Remember that was kind of like the move, and then they got fired.
So I guess he'll be their coach next year. That'll be interesting. And then, in the Golden Knights case, John Tortorella, I mean, he's like the e-bug of coaches. Like, I feel like Tortorella is like always always jumping in when someone gets fired. I don't know. It's just really weird to me that, look, if you're a team that you're not going to make the playoffs, you don't even need to name a coach. You can just be like, assistant coach takes over the last 5 games, and then we'll all go play golf for the summer, and we'll figure this out. You can do that as opposed to bringing in someone and giving them whatever. But yeah, these 2 coaches were never quite right for the job, and we'll see what happens. But I mean, I have a fraught relationship with the Islanders because they are the Rangers' biggest rivals, and I often think Islander fans and the Islanders in general have an inflated sense of self, and that they think they can be competitive, they can be good. It comes from winning 4 Stanley Cups in a row in the 80s, but that's a long time ago, and that means nothing today.
Right. Yeah, and I think all that talent they I don't say squandered, but I mean, the Islanders still had some good players that, you'd think that they would have continued. I mean, of course, then Edmonton came to fruition by then. And then, I mean, I remember when I got into hockey in like 89, like the Islanders were just not that good of it. They were not a good team by then. I mean, maybe they'd make the playoffs, but they were just not a good. They'd make the playoffs and get eliminated in the first round, even though they had Pat LaFontaine, who was like, one of the best American players. But they just, I mean, by then all their Stanley Cup heroes had retired, and
they've always been, they in the last 20, 25 years, they've been an average team, but they're not going to do anything in the playoffs. They're not going to get to a conference finals. They're not going to do that. The Golden Knights, on their hand, have overachieved early on. I mean, as an expansion team, and they were very good. So I almost feel like there's more respect around the league for the Golden Knights and for what they've done in a short amount of time, as opposed to being a very old franchise who's done a lot of winning way back decades ago. That often doesn't help you. It just feels like, wow, it's been a long time. Fans will look at that and go, wow, yeah, you might have, when you're tossing names like Mike Bossy around, that's a long time ago. It's not enough here. And like I said, I think Patrick Waugh is a big name, but Patrick Waugh doesn't really have a great coaching record here. I don't know. I always thought it was a weird fit, especially Waugh. Cassidy maybe less so, but Waugh, I always thought this can go sideways quick.
I mean, the thing is that like, I agree with you. Like, I never really thought that like Patrick Waugh, I don't want to say was coaching material, but like, he seemed more like a name than like, okay, you look at like certain coaches. I mean, Peter DeBoer is a good coach, even though he's been hired and fired. I mean, what did they say? You get hired to get fired. But like, if I think of like good coaches, like DeBoer is what's it called? He's a good coach, but I mean, he was a good goalie. He was a great goalie. He's one of the best goalies, maybe the best goalie of all time. And it's just weird because remember, he had that long lapse between his coaching gigs, right? So when he came back, we were kind of surprised by like, oh, he's back in the picture again. I don't understand. Like, I get it. It's like you're trying to make the playoffs, so you need to like fire the coach, bring in a new coach, shake things up, get everybody excited. Like, oh, new coach. The players who are underperforming, they're going to try hard because now they're thinking, I want to be here next year. I don't want to get cut. I have to impress this new coach, right? Maybe you do have the players who want to make the playoffs and other players like, let's just get on with our lives. I don't know. Let's go hit the golf tee. I don't know. But like, I don't really think players think like that. I mean, when you're like just barely in the playoff picture, I don't know. Like the time to fire that coach is like what the Blues did. You fire your coach in January when you're in last place, and then you win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, you fire them before the trade deadline because this way you're like, okay, we have time to do something. I kind of see your point about the 4 games left, but I'm also like, why? Like it doesn't. Is it but you're also caught you're caught in that weird gray zone, which is you barely missed the playoffs, but you're not bad enough to get a high draft pick. So now you're stuck in the middle of the like whatever, the best of the rest kind of thing, and you're not going anywhere. And if you're going to rebuild, you might as well have an awful season and finish last, as like the Rangers or
the Blackhawks.
Or the Blackhawks, right, which they've been doing that for a couple of years.
Blackhawks have clinched the second worst or the second best chance at the number 1 pick now. So
I'm not going to bring that up here, but at some point, people in Chicago are going to get sick of that. I'm telling you, like that, that's like year in and year out now. It's not even a rebuild. It's kind of like, I don't know what's happening. It's like a collection. Look, I'll tell you this. Maybe people in Chicago will have patience for it, but if the San Jose Sharks are able to win a cup or get deep in the playoffs off of their rebuild, then people are going to question Chicago. They're going to say, well, the Sharks are in the same position. They've been pretty terrible in the West for years. They've been accumulating good players over the last couple of years, but they're actually going to go somewhere. So whatever. That's a discussion for another time, for the summer when things are slow. But yeah, no, I expect the Golden Knights to be better next year. I would be surprised if the Islanders get better next year. I'd be very surprised.
Like just what I wanted to say though, with like 4 games to go, look.
Yeah.
I don't think firing the coach with 4 games left is going to make a difference. Like,
I agree.
The team if they make the play, let's say the Islanders fire the coach, get a new coach, they make the playoffs. How far are they going to go in the playoffs? Honestly, realistically.
Just the first round.
First round, right? So what they could have done was they could have kept Patrick Waugh. If they didn't make the playoffs, you fire him at the end of the season. If they do make the playoffs and then they get eliminated in the first round, you fire him after the first round. It's no difference. If they really wanted Peter DeBoer, they should have hired him sooner. That's all. It just seemed like, I mean, I was reading like some comments or like, well, they wanted him because he was going to be available. But at the end of the season, when everybody fires their coaches, then everyone's going to, start looking for coaches, and half the coaches will just kind of move around. It's like Red Rover, let Peter come over, right?
Yeah.
They just kind of run around, it's almost like musical chairs.
Plus, isn't John Tortorella going to be around? I mean, he's not available now, but he probably normally would have been.
Now, that's the move I don't understand, because I'm just real quick. I wanted to pull up Cassidy's stats. I mean, he coached for 2 years with the Capitals. I didn't know he was actually an assistant with the Blackhawks. Cassidy was a Blackhawks first round draft pick, but he had a knee injury, so his NHL career only lasted some total of 36 games over 6 seasons. He played 21 games in 87, 88, and then after that, and then he just kind of was more in the minors. And but anyway, what's it called? Oh, he played in Italy for a bit. Yeah, he played Alleghe. Can you pronounce that for me? Alleghe.
Alleghe. I don't know where that is. Yeah.
Okay.
The only hockey team I know in Italy is Milan, right? They have a pretty good hockey team. But anyway.
Yeah. So he played a little bit in the minors, but yeah, he didn't play in the NHL that long. But he coached, head coach for 2 years with Washington, head coach with the Bruins for 7 years, head coach with Vegas for just under 4 years. I mean, I don't understand why the Bruins fired him. I mean, I'm not a Bruins insider, but when Tortorella gets fired from this job eventually, just like when he got fired from his last 3 jobs. Okay, when Torts was the Rangers coach and he got fired, were you like, oh my God, what happened? Or were you just like, yeah,
no,
it's just a matter of time.
Exactly. It's a matter of, I mean, there must be pools out there of people betting on how long it'll take for him to get fired.
All right, I'll give you the opposite. When the Blackhawks fired Joel Quenneville, that was like, holy shit, what just happened? You fired the coach. I mean, not the same outrage, but pretty close to when the Chicago Bears fired Mike Ditka as the head coach, right? It was like literally, like, I remember my girlfriend at the time, who I was living with my girlfriend at the time, and her mom texted her and was like, the Hawks fired. Okay, so, because, I mean, her mom was like a casual hockey fan.
This is like Chicago Sun-Times page 1 news. Like this was a big deal.
This was like, oh my God, Quenneville got fired. Not like, oh, that a-hole coach that people have put up with for 2.5 seasons is gone, right? Like,
yeah. No.
So I don't know. I like Cassidy. But then again, I don't really know enough about him. I see that he coached a long time. I mean, I don't know now. I'm thinking I'm not really a big fan of Jeff Bledsoe, who's the coach of the Blackhawks. like to see Bruce Cassidy come back. That'd be kind of cool, right? The team that drafted him, the team the only NHL team he played for, comes back and coaches our young group of prospects. That'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, it's like a movie.
Yeah.
But I also think, that he hit a lull right after the Olympic break.
Mm-hmm.
And so you start going on a losing streak. And all of a sudden, like, you go from playoff contender to falling out of the playoffs, and you lose your job. And then, let's be honest, they had a couple of players that were hurt, including Mark Stone.
Yes.
So I get it that in sports, you have to fire the coach. You can't fire half the team. You can do that over the summer, over time, but you can't just do that here right now. So I get the coach has to pay the brunt of that, and he'd been there a while. So I get that. So whatever. But I agree with you on the timing of it. You're near the end of the season. I don't see the point unless, like you said, there's a flood of coaches that then, are going to be hired, and you're going to miss out on somebody. But replacing him with Tortorella, I feel like he's going to be around all the time, and maybe next year at this time he will be around again for someone else to pick up.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
maybe it'll be 2 years, maybe. But I
think Torch sticks around for a couple of seasons, wears out his welcome, gets fired, is off for a season or two, and then somebody thinks he's the answer.
Yeah, exactly. And look, there's only so many people out there, men out there, who can do this job until a new generation of coaches come in, right? Like, so
they come in slowly, gradually over time.
They do, but very slowly, and it is what it is. But it's the way it is with the coaching carousel, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Let's talk about 25-26 Upper Deck Series 2 hockey cards. So I got a box. Clemente, you said you got some packs, and
I did.
Yeah, and to the surprise of no one, it's pretty much like the first series 1. I mean, same design, same configuration. So the hobby boxes came out March 4th. The retail came out March 18th. And the set breakdown, again, 250 cards with your 200 base cards, 50 Young Guns, and then a bunch of inserts and parallels of inserts. So like with Series 1, I like doing this cost breakdown because you have options, right? Like, you can buy a hobby box, or you could buy blaster boxes, or you could they got the mega boxes and they got the collector's tins. And for those of you who are listening to this podcast and not watching it, I will tell you, I got this little chart here. Your hobby box is $250. You get 12 packs. So you'll get about $20-21 a pack, and you'll get 6 Young Guns, but each Young Gun's going to cost you like $41, right? Like, I mean, if you look at it that way, right? Like, because look, Clemente, you're a set builder, I'm a set builder, but for the people who are chasing rookie cards, I mean, or who are the people who are not set builders, what are they looking for?
Looking for Young Guns cards, or
the
maybe
Young
some.
Guns.
Yeah, that's what they're looking for.
And maybe some inserts that are kind of high end, like a 1 in 75,000 packs or something. We'll talk about that.
But that's a lotto ticket situation.
Right? Yeah, right. So I mean, that's the thing though. So like, if you're like, I want to build the set and I want like to get as many Young Guns as I can, collector's tins I think are a good alternative. They're $60. You get 8 packs plus a Dazzlers pack, and they're you're paying about $7.50 a pack, and you'll get 2 or 3 Young Guns. So you're looking at about 30 or 20. Like, I know back in the fall, I bought a couple of collector's tins, and I think I did pretty well. I think I got 3 Young Guns in each tin. So I did better. It's 1 in every 3 packs instead of 1 in every other pack. So the odds are a little bit longer, but then the mega boxes are like $40. You get 6 packs plus a rookie class bonus pack, and you're looking at about $667 per pack, and you'll get 2 Young Guns, and so you're spending about $20 each. And then the blaster box, 4 packs for $25. I think the blaster box is, even though it's the cheapest per pack, you're paying $6.25 per pack. You're going to get 1 or 2 Young Guns. I guess that's actually, I guess if you get 2 Young Guns and a blaster, I mean, not that it matters. You just want to get Matthew Schaefer and maybe Michael Misa, and then you're happy, right? And if you get 4 Young Guns, but you get like the checklist, the guy who's playing in the AHL, the guy who's already in Europe, and the guy who's out with a season-ending injury, right? You're just like, yay, my 4 Young Guns, right?
So let me comment on this chart because I bought packs a couple of days after the boxes came out, and I bought a few packs. I think I paid $17 for a pack, and I thought that was a lot of money. The box has gone up in price, so now per pack has gone up. So that's kind of crazy. And I didn't pull anything great. And then if you look on eBay, the Schaefer Young Gun is anywhere between $175 to $220. So if you're like, I have $250 in my budget, do I get a box, get a bunch of cards I don't want with the hope of getting the Young Guns I want? Or do I go out and say, I'll get the Schaefer card and maybe some other few things here and there, and you're happy. And you're speculating on the number 1 draft pick, and you just sit on that. And so, because we say this all the time, I think it's becoming evidently real and true, is that this is a breaker culture type of price point where you can't go out and buy the hobby box. When we were kids, you'd buy packs. Like every Friday, every Saturday, I would go and buy 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 packs or whatever it was. And then it got to the point in the early 90s, maybe it was like 90-91 Upper Deck. It was like, or OPG Premier, you're like, you know what? I'm going to buy the whole box. And it was like, and that was new because in the 80s, nobody bought a box. You buy packs.
Kids didn't buy boxes. We bought what we could afford.
Exactly. And so all of a sudden now the box is so out of reach. I'm back to like, hey, just give me a couple of packs. Just want to sample the product. And then maybe I'll go on the secondary market and just buy a base set and then try to pad everything out by a trip to the National or the Expo. And you see these cards in the wild and you end up buying them because the thrill of buying the box, I get it. People are like, well, for $250, it's not what's in the box. It's the thrill of opening the box. I'm like, well, that thrill isn't worth $250, maybe not. And will this box go down in price? I don't know now because of speculation on the Young Guns. This could be, it's not quite the Bedard, box, but it's not going down in price either. It's going up. And that's what bothers me about hobby boxes is if it's selling for $220, then that's what stores should sell it at. If you go to David Adams' website, it's $249.
Right. And when I originally put this presentation together 3 weeks ago or a month ago when we were going to do this show, they were $230 a hobby box.
Right.
Now they're $250. So, I checked my numbers and I go, oh, it went up. I mean, I even looked at it a week ago because I thought we were going to record, last week.
Right.
And the boxes were still $230. So they crept up. They jumped from $230 to $250 in a week for some whatever reason.
Yeah, and don't recall the big stores or even like your hobby shop raising the price based on demand. It was more like, well, everyone's selling it for $220 or $230, whatever it is. That's what it's going to sell for. And all of a sudden now it becomes this just speculation on the box as opposed to like, no, the box is what it is. It's just whatever's inside may be worth more or less, but the box is what it is. Like it's, and I know Upper Deck doesn't, they might have a guide. I don't think there's a set price Upper Deck imposes. Maybe there's a minimum. There's a minimum maybe. But then this reminded me when I saw the price increase and I saw your chart, it reminded me of the inaugural PWHL box where it was like swinging all over the place until it became like, wait, this is $100 now. It's 200 and something. What 300? What happened? Because of the demand. And clearly there's demand on this box, which I must have missed because I would have bought a box early on. I thought it was too high when it first came out, and now I think it's even higher and not worth it. But we can talk about the contents of it, and people can figure out whether they think it's worth it or not.
I mean, and so then this is where I would look and I'd say, all right, I could get 2 collector's tins for 120, and then I would get 16 packs instead of 12 packs, and I would get, maybe 4, 5, or 6 Young Guns. So maybe I'm not getting the same amount of Young Guns, but it's close enough, right?
Yeah. I think the other issue too, I think with Series 1, I think I was maybe 20 or 25 cards short of a base set. not Young Guns, just the
Mhm.
the ones at 200. So unfortunately, this doesn't get you there. And the days of buying 2 hobby boxes to try to get the base set in this case would be silly because that's a lot of money you're spending. So you have to go out and someone will sell the base set for $25 and you buy it there, which takes out the
Yeah.
fun, but it takes the fun out of the opening of the packs and trying to collate it together yourself.
I mean, for Series 1, I got a hobby box, I got 2 collector's tins, and 2
So
mega boxes.
Series 1 was cheaper, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that being said, I still didn't get a set. I had a
No.
ton of I think my hobby box, my 2 collector's tins, and my 2 mega boxes, I think I got some of the same base cards in all of them.
So
Because
bad
there were some
collation. Bad
yeah, because
collation.
there were some cards where I had not like, okay, I don't have any of this card, and then I'd be, oh, I got 5 of this card, because
Mm.
I opened 5 different types of boxes or 5 boxes, and 2 tins, 2 megas, and 1 hobby, and it was just
I
like,
notice, yeah, I notice with retail, the collation is pretty awful.
it's pretty awful. Yeah, if you buy like 2 hobby boxes from the same case, they'll be shuffled a little better, I think. But
Yeah.
I think that, the other thing too is that I'm just trying, like, and that's the thing. Like, I don't want to spend $500 on 2 hobby boxes. Like,
No.
I just don't want to do that. Like, okay, 1 box, cool, right? Yeah, maybe you're having fun, you're enjoying the cards, you're trying to build the set, and that's a good start, right? But then to fill it out the rest of the way, I think it's okay to go cheaper.
It's no coincidence that Series 1 is always cheaper because we know Series 2 has the better Young Guns.
Well, yeah, and this the whole sea change was when in 2023-24 when they changed their configuration from 24 packs to 12 packs, and then they made it an early October release instead of a late November release. And
Right.
that really, or mid-November, because they always
yeah.
wanted to hit the Expo. That was their goal, right?
Yes.
I remember
yes.
Series 1 always came out around the Expo and the Chicago Sports Spectacular, and that's when I'd usually buy some. But now they want to, and you know what? I think it's okay. I really think it's okay because you get Series 1 coming out as hockey season is starting, and I think that's awesome.
Which I like. I like that.
And then you have extended series coming out hopefully a little bit earlier. I can't quite back this up, but I mean, when extended series comes out in like August, you're just like, okay, yeah. I mean, I think that's part of the reason why it wasn't as. I think this year it's coming out in June, which is at least closer to, you know what I mean? Like it. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it being released sooner, Series 1, and then Series 2 being, March instead of, well, I guess, April or whatever, or May or whatever.
Right. Well, it's funny because extended right now is in pre-sale and it's retailing for $250.
Does it show a release date?
I can't see one on David Adams' site, but Steel City usually has that, so I'll look there. But what I'm saying is, it's not a cheap price point, and we've always had a really love-hate relationship with extended, and unless there's something in there that we don't know about, then we'll see. But it's just interesting that the price point would be that high. But you're probably right about the release date because.
Here, June 24th. I just pulled up the most recent Puck Junk newsletter.
So that would be about Stanley Cup time then, I guess.
Yeah, kind of like when the season's wind. Yeah, it's right around awards time.
Yeah.
Cup is over by then. So yeah, so we got Series 1 in October, Series 2 in March, Series 3 in June.
So I like the dates. Don't get me wrong, the dates are fine. I mean,
yeah,
it's better that way. But yeah, no. In terms of the price point, I'm starting to really get frustrated with the price of hobby, and it's only getting worse.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So you know what? Not much to really say about the set design. It's the same as Series 1. I mean, I think we said that we liked the design, but we just wish that they shifted the name down into that first white stripe along the bottom, and then the team name down into that second white stripe along the bottom, so that like the player's name isn't over like the player's uniform or whatever. Like if you look at like the Dustin Wolf card that we're looking at here, it's kind of hard to read Dustin Wolf because it's going across his blocker and his leg pad. And it's just
Let me just add this. I agree
Yeah.
with you. The design, I think, for flagship is kind of over the years, the last 5, 10, 15 years has gotten so just whatever, because I think design is secondary in this set. They save all the fun stuff for the other sets. But what I do like about Series 1 and also Series 2 is that you mentioned Dustin Wolf card. Like that's to me an awful card. But there are a few cards, and they're photographed here if you're watching on YouTube. There's action shots. The photography is a little bit better, I think, in Series 1 and Series 2 this year than I think in years past.
Yes, I agree with you. You know, this set kind of reminded me a little bit of like the early 90s sets where we had more exciting photos again. I picked that Dustin Wolf card just because it's a good close-up and he's kind of looking right at, he's looking at the camera. It's a good, you would not have had a card like that 40 years ago. I mean, just just to be like that close to the player and like eye level with him, unless it was a posed shot on like a minor league card.
But that Dustin Wolf card looks like a lot of cards I've seen in the last 5 or 6 years. But some of the other ones look like canvas almost in terms of the action shot. And I like that. And it devalues canvas because then it's like, what's the point of canvas other than the feel and everything else? But I do like the tighter shots, the more action players like celebrating a goal or shooting a puck or not just like standing there, which is like, that's like a card from 1985, but you would have that. Like, why that? But yeah, no, I hope that the photography gets better. Maybe that's their way to kind of up the design value a little bit, saying, look, we only do so much with the card design, but the photography really helps. So it becomes like a UD canvas or like Stadium Club, like that sort of, because the photography gets better and better and the players are doing all kinds of awesome things on the ice and might as well capture that if you can.
Yeah. I'm looking at this Troy Terry card where like he's celebrating a goal. You see the goalie is like on the ice, kind of looking at him. And then there's like a defender who's maybe down on his knees and he's like looking up, kind of disappointed. And then you see a Ducks teammate in the background about to throw his arms in the air. Like he's just realizing what happened. So it's a cool picture. And in this one of Ryan O'Reilly is kind of neat because he's like, you'll notice that like he looks like he's in focus, but his teammates look blurry. It's almost like he's holding still and his teammates are moving instead of him being blurry and them being in focus. It's kind of odd, but I like it. And I think part of the reason is I know the COVID thing was all like 5 years ago, 6 years ago now, but remember like in 2021, 21, 22, because you didn't have any fans at the games and you had like, they had the tarps over the seats and they had like, the photographers were only allowed to be in certain spots. So you got a lot of these like ice level, knees up, chest up view photos of the player. There weren't those dynamic aerial shots. There wasn't those like worm's eye view or bird's eye view or really like just the different angles that like we would get on upper deck cards. So for a while we weren't getting those. And I feel like, yeah, this really feels like kind of like a return to that a little bit. Although we might have returned to it a while ago, but I'm still, either way, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I agree. But I also think that they were stuck in that COVID thing for a few years. So we got the same kind of shots for like more than 1 year. We got it for like three, 4
years. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so maybe seeing these now being, exciting again, maybe we're just seeing something. It feels like it's new again, even though it may not be.
Yeah. So the back of the cards, 5 stats or 5 years of stats, and then career totals. And then, the BS blurb at the bottom to fill a little bit of space. So even though somebody might have played 14 seasons like Mika Zibanejad, they're only going to give the last 5 years of stats. So I think we've said this ad nauseum to death, but we'd kind of like to have all the stats. But then again, I guess we're the only ones who
Let me
I
ask
don't
you
know.
this.
The Breakers don't care about stats.
Let me ask you this though. Would you ditch the photo on the back and go full stats and get rid of the blurb?
Yeah, I kind of liked how, if you remember, like those mid 90s upper deck cards, like I'm thinking of like Collector's Choice as an example, where like if they didn't have a lot of stats, they'd write more about the player. If they had more stats, then they wouldn't have that little blurb. And then if they had so much stats, they would just get rid of the photo. And it would just, right? Like they'd make it fit. They always figured out a way. And I like that. You'd look and you'd be like, wow, this guy has so many stats that he doesn't have a photo on the back of his card because there's no room for it, And
Look, maybe they're looking for uniformity, but I also would, I'd say if you're going
yes,
to insist on doing this, then make the back photo different than the front
yeah,
photo.
but they're paying per photo. You know what? This is probably old information. Actually, I don't even remember how much it was, but I did a deep dive in how much it would cost to do to use a Getty Images for a trading card photo, and I looked at it and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, you take that, whatever it was, $200, $300, you multiply that by 200 cards, 250 cards. There you go. And you know what? It's actually it costs more if you license it for exclusive versus non-exclusive use. Because I looked into a Patrick Kane card that was used on an Patrick Kane photo that was used on an upper deck card. I think it was 11-12. And it was also used on a Panini card, I think in Pinnacle. And I'm like, why did they use the exact same photo? Like, there's more than one photo of Patrick Kane from that season. And, it could have just been coincidental. But neither company, whoever produced their set first, didn't say, oh, well, we'll pay $500 to have the exclusive use for this photo on a trading card. So, or whatever. I'm making that number up because this is something I wrote like 15 years ago. So give me a little grace on that. Even us journalist guys, we sometimes forget like the facts that we report, after a while, it just kind of all blurs together.
It does.
Yeah. Moving on with this, the Young Guns design, same as before, same as Series 1. And of course, the big names, of course, as you mentioned, Matthew Schaefer is in this, as is Michael Misa, Easton Cohen, Zeev Boyum. And then the beloved mascot of the Utah Mammoth, Tusky, has got a Young Gun in this. So Bowie was in a Young Gun one year, and Tusky is a Young Gun this year. So yay! I don't know.
I love mascot cards. I love mascot. They don't hold their value, but I like mascot cards.
It depends on the mascot, and it depends, dude.
It's not gritty.
Okay, yes, that is true. But I got to tell you something. People like mascot cards.
They do.
Yeah, they do. And even people like, the way I see it, mascot cards are that overlap between hockey collectors and Pokemon collectors. That's the Venn diagram. Are the mascot cards, because they'll be like, oh, look, it's Iceberg, and then they'll want like, oh, look, it's Bowie. Oh, look, it's of course Gritty. Gritty is the Pikachu of the mascots.
Or like when people say, well, this hobby is for kids and you're rooting for the kids. We know it's not for kids, but I do think mascot cards are for kids. Kids love mascot cards. I mean,
100% they do.
They do. I totally agree. And in a lot of ways, you can make the mascot cards stickers and it would be the same thing because people like mascot cards. And, you see that in OPG, MVP. Like if you can do
MVP did the mascot stickers.
Exactly. And so there's a reason for that. It's a low end product and kids are going to want the stickers because you can put that in your binder, on your locker, whatever. And that still holds true even 30 years after we were doing that 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So yeah, I do like mascot cards. They're fun. And when you have an expansion team, it gives you an excuse to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully we won't have too many more expansion teams because I feel like we're at our limit.
I agree.
32 feels right. I mean, I still feel like that's too many, I'm a fan of the original 21, but
yeah, I think you'd start diluting a little bit. But anyway,
it's funny too, like that the NHL had 21 teams for like from 79 to 91, 91, 92 with the Sharks, and it was just like, oh, why did they have an odd number? Oh, because one team was so terrible, it just folded. And they were just like, all right, well, let's not replace it, right? Well, and then that is the Cleveland Barons folded, and then they added the WHA teams, and then
right.
And I think you had the Colorado team move. So I mean, they had the NHL had problems.
There was movement, but not new teams. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, they're just the league wasn't stable. I mean, it really needed that 10 years to just kind of get its act together, and that could be the subject of an entirely different podcast. But when the NHL grew really big, and then it and then it merged with the WHA, and then it just it just needed time to it overexpanded too quickly, and it just needed to stabilize.
Right.
So Young Guns, they're there. There's 50 of them. All right, the inserts, the ones that you remember from last series, from Series 1. There's Canvas, there's Encore, there's UD Portraits, which, what did we say those look like? Those look like a DVD box cover for a documentary on a mass murderer. Was that?
Yeah, there was a whole, everybody had like an opinion. I thought it looked like Bruce Banner and the Hulk, but everybody had their own, but UD Portraits, it's almost like every year can it outdo the previous year on how silly it is. And I would say mission accomplished if that's what they were doing, but I can't wait to see next year's because it's probably going to be some other crazy thing. And they insist on keeping this insert. I don't know why, but they do.
The Portraits cards, instead of having their name at the bottom in Portraits, they could just put ... and he had a dark secret. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Like those documentaries. So yeah, UD Portraits, population count. Of course, the Canvas has black and white parallel versions. Encore has blue, gold, and red parallel versions. Portraits have gold versions that are numbered to 25. And population count have 1, 10, 25, 50, 100, 500, and 1,000 count versions. I don't know if the 1 is actually numbered out of 1. I think that was the idea, but these cards aren't actually serial numbered. They're just population count 1,000, but there might be more than 1,000 of them. We really have no way of knowing. And then a couple other inserts. These ones are new to this series. We got Glow Up, IYKYK. Do you know what that stands for?
No, do you?
Well, if you know, you know.
Is it one of these, like, in case you missed it? Like, is it like, do people text this or something?
No. It's if you know, you know.
Oh, but it's something that you would text, right?
Yeah. Or you would just say, it's kind of like ICYMI in case you missed it, or LOL, or TLDR, too long, didn't read.
Yeah, but if you know what? Like, what do I know?
That's what I don't know. And that's why I wish Tim was here so he could rip this one, a new one. So he could punch a hole in this card, I guess.
If you know, you don't need this insert.
I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at this here. It's Cam Fowler, and it says here, Fowler's 1,000th NHL game took place in the Blues Winter Classic clash against the Blackhawks on December 31st, 2024. He celebrated by scoring twice to guide St. Louis to historic 6-2 victory in Chicago. So now you know.
Well, the blurb reads like every other boring blurb, but if you know, you know is always meant to signify like an inside joke, like, oh yeah, if you know, you know, like,
right.
But the back of that card didn't give me anything about him that I don't know, whatever. We're over-examining it. We're probably overthinking it, but
yeah,
but it's weird that it would be like an appeal to maybe younger audiences, but I don't quite see the connection. But anyway,
but I feel like Yeah, almost like the Gen Xer or the boomer trying to write something for the kid and kind of like
Yeah.
missing the mark, but they're trying, you know.
Right. Right.
Boomtown, this looks like let's see here. I'm reading the back of this. Um just says here that this player showed no fear in the offensive zone, totaling oh, so it's hitters. That's what I thought. You know, you got two
Yeah.
players on the card and you have an explosion. So obviously, my first thought was, oh, this card must have to do with hitting, but never you never know until you read the back and try to decipher what.
But hitting like more like a check, not like fighting though, because they don't really celebrate that. Right?
Yeah, that's too bad.
I
I
know.
don't know. Like, yeah, okay, I get it. Fighting bad. You know what? I watch now when I try to watch a bench clearing brawl from the 70s, they're pretty cringy. I really think they're cringy
No, no,
when
I
it's
don't mean a
like,
bench. I don't mean a bench clear. I mean like two guys going at it instead of
well, okay, so here's the thing about fighting. Like, I I don't know, man. There's no one sentence answer to like justify or explain or I don't think it could just be black and white. I think the thing is that when you say, well, it's part of a game, but it doesn't have to be part of the game because goalies without masks used to be part of the game, right? If the NHL just decided they wanted to get rid of fighting, they could just get rid of fighting. Do you think you got 700 or 800 players in the Players Association? How many of them would really vote for fighting? The guys who fight. Do you think Sidney Crosby would vote? Oh yeah, we should keep fighting in the game.
Well, you know what? It's funny about you say that because hockey is the only sport where fighting. I mean, this happened in the other sport. You get suspended for like 5 games or something. Like
Right.
you can't just punch somebody in the face. But hockey culture has always had it as part of it. It is strange though if you think about it. If you came from another planet and you're watching American sports, you're like, why is this sport allow fighting? Like I get that. But it is in the culture.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and we grew up
Exactly.
in the 80s when enforcers were a thing and they were fun. And we all watched Ty Domi and long past
Probert, Stu Grimson,
yeah,
Donald
Prober.
Brashear, Marty
Yeah,
McSorley,
right. And
Dave Brown.
we kind of all kind of enjoyed it. And maybe it's nostalgia more than I agree. Like we're not going to go back to that. But if they made a bunch of cards of those players and President's Choice will do that and other companies will do that, that's fine. Because that's the kind of stuff that we may like.
Yeah, President's Choice did a set a couple of years ago called Tough Guys that sold very well. It was actually a packed out product. It wasn't like the where you go to their website and you buy like one card or whatever cards you want. It was like boxes that you'd buy.
And by the way, Tough Guys is actually a pretty good name for a set or a subset.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good name. Boomtown, it's okay.
How about Let Them Cook?
Let cook, yeah, and that's also a young phrase, if I guess.
I guess, but on the back it says "Let Them Cook," and then it says "Menu by Chef Connor Bedard."
Yeah, now it's like it now becomes a dad joke,
Well, kind of, yeah. And then it gives his recipe for his favorite smoothie.
Yeah, I feel like you're joking, but you're not.
I am.
Oh, okay. But
yeah, actually, it says here "Menu by Chef Connor Bedard, Center." On March 7th, 2025,
boring blurb.
Bedard took control of the Blackhawks' home clash against Utah as he dished out an assist. Okay.
By the way,
yeah, go ahead.
No, by the way,
it doesn't matter. The rest of this doesn't matter. Anyways, go ahead.
It doesn't matter, but it would be a great game show to be like a back of a hockey card, true or false, and you can read one. And I mean, because you can conjure up anything you want, and I can believe it because I don't know anymore what direction they're going in with these inserts. And so having said that, you can totally make up the back. Like the fact that you said there's a back of the card, have Chef Connor Bedard and has a recipe for a smoothie. I believed it. And actually, that might not be such a bad idea because we've always said if you're going to make all these inserts, try to personalize the players, try to connect with the players, whether it's what music they listen to, or like what they eat, or what they're, like what they're doing off the ice.
See, that takes time though, and they don't do
I
that
know.
anymore. Like,
I know.
remember we used to get they would tell us, like, they would say, like,
Fun fact.
Gilbert Perreault is single and he enjoys spending the off season in
Ice fishing,
right? Like, you would get, you'd get that sort of thing, right? And now you don't get that anymore. It's just like they just tell you some random fact about some random game, and
but the truth is,
one of the coolest facts I learned was from a hockey card. It was from Chris Nyland's 91-92 scorecard. And the back of the card, the write-up was about how he was supposed to play in the 91 All-Star game, but he got hurt playing basketball. I think he was just playing a pickup game with some friends or something, and he twisted his ankle and he could not play in the All-Star game. And I knew that he got hurt and he didn't play in the All-Star game because it was controversial when he got picked. Speaking of enforcers, right? He got picked to play in the 91 All-Star game. But then, like, years later, as I looked at his scorecard from the following season, and I'm like, oh, wow, I just learned something. That's cool, right? Like, that's like a piece of trivia that's like retelling a piece of history, not just like he had 2 assists in a game against the New Jersey Devils.
So inevitably, when we talk about inserts, we're so fed up with the fronts that we're always dreaming about the backs being better, and maybe just double face them. Then don't even bother with the back. Put let them cook, and you got one side Bedard, and one side you put, Crosby.
Yeah, but then they can't make it an 80 card insert set or 60 or 50. That's the other thing too. Like, I look at like Glow Up and I go, that's kind of cool. I like that. I mean, it's a nice looking card.
But how many are in the set? How many?
I don't know, probably 50.
That's a lot.
And then I just don't care.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if it was like 9, it'd be like, oh, okay, cool. That fill a page. It was like when you just wanted to get those inserts, right? And there was like 12 All-Stars or 8 trophy winners or whatever, right? You were just like, okay, cool.
What'd be interesting? Make fewer inserts, but put more of them in the pack. So this way, I get nobody wants the base pack. Everybody used to hate that. But maybe Glow Up is the kind of thing where they make 50 cards, but you could get 5 of them in a box or 6 of them. At least it'll get you a bit of a way there, as opposed to, you might get 1, you might get none. It doesn't matter, and then nobody cares. And you're not going to go finding these because you can't buy product and catch them. And then good luck finding them at shows. And then you have to go on eBay or ComC. And by the time you do that, nobody really cares anymore. The moment's kind of passed. So it's almost like it's become the new filler in a way.
Yeah.
If you think about it. And that's sort of, how do you combat that? Because this was to combat the base cards packs. So now it's like, okay, maybe you number them, maybe you do something. I don't know, but whatever that is, it's just really frustrating to see more and more of these, and with no point.
They have like the speckle versions that have like the speckly fronts.
Yeah,
and I mean, I don't know.
It's hard to keep it fresh. That's all.
Yeah, and I don't blame them from trying, but like, I mean, I kind of like the Boomtown idea. You know what I mean? I kind of think of like Score Check It. From
a little bit,
like the late 90s, and then I think they brought that back. I think Panini brought Check It back, and I like those. And of course, you have your Dazzlers. You got the blue ones, the green ones that come in blaster boxes, orange ones that come in collector's tins. You also got black, gold, and pink Dazzlers. And you got Sizzle Reel, which was in Series 1, that has that QR code. You photograph that, and it takes you to a website that shows a video highlight of that player. Again, I like that idea because it's giving it like some interactivity with a cell phone. So I think, okay, that's cool. Slaps, which is players doing slap shots, and vibing, which is goalies, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I'll look at this one here. What does this say here? Thompson recorded, that is Logan Thompson. Yep. Thompson recorded 31 wins across 42 starts for the Capitals in 24-25, a career high for victories. During the season, he kept 2 shutouts, and maintained a .910 save percentage. Yeah. I mean, okay, but then there was also Fluorescence, Day with the Cup, Incarnations. So some of these now are getting really ridiculous, right? Like, okay, there's something called NHL First, which are 1 in 36 packs on ePack. That's not hard. But then if you look at like Day with the Cup, 1 in every 1,440 packs. Incarnations, 1 in every 1,920 packs. Fanimation, 1 in every 4,850 packs. And I catch my breath for this last one. White House Visit, 1 in every 75,000 packs. So Clemente suggested, he's like, we should pull up some of these like really tough to pull inserts. So there's the White House Visit. And yeah, so you got the Florida Panthers presenting the president with a Panthers jersey. And yeah.
Well,
it's like funny. A 45 jersey, which is funny because it should be a 47 jersey, but all right, whatever.
Which is funny because I think the president with the players is always cool. So I'm into that. They should make it more available, obviously. The Fanimation, it's like if you pull that card, you're like, wow, I just pulled just another version of UD Portraits here.
Yeah.
But the White House Visit is interesting, and if you're a Panthers fan, you're gonna want that card. But yeah, it's just interesting that it's so hard to get. And I think we looked up how much they were selling for on eBay in the secondary market, and was it $200 or am I making that
No,
up?
it was
more.
The White House Visit, one sold for 1,000, one sold for 750, one sold for about 450. So they're
Right.
kind of like in that 5 to 750 range.
Yeah, because they're hard to get. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder how many, I mean, not to make this about politics, and I'm not a fan of the guy, but I'm wondering if this card has such an inflated value because it has Donald Trump on it, and the Trump people buy stuff with him on it.
Yeah, it's possible. I also think if you're, in this case, a Panthers fan, you might want this card because it is the championship team and they won the cup and people are chasing that. Or people are just like, look, I pulled this card. I don't want it. So I'm going to sell it. And then there's just, because there aren't a lot of them out there. They're not numbered as far as I can tell. But maybe that's the demand. I mean, it could be a confluence of all the factors coming together. But yeah, if it was Joe Biden, would it be worth less? If it's another president, is it worth less? I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. It's kind of surprising they haven't made more of these cards in the past, because most teams win the Stanley Cup and then visit the president. That's not unusual. So conceivably, this card could have been made of any team every year. But as far as I can recall, the only one I can remember is Mario Lemieux with George H.W. Bush back in, was it 91, I guess?
91, 92, yeah.
Upper Deck, right, which was not a rare card, and it was part of the set. And it was kind of cool because Upper Deck was pushing the limits back then of like what you can put on a card, you know?
Yeah, they're like, here's Mario Lemieux with the president. Here's a card of the guy who invented the Zamboni. Right. Here's a card of, like, I don't know, like they just were kind of all over.
Yeah,
here's a World Junior Championship checklist card with Eric Lindros on it or whatever, right? Like they were just
right, and they're being innovative, and that's great. And they're still doing that a little. Upper Deck has always been innovative, and so it's interesting why the card is worth a lot. I'd be kind of curious to see if I ever see it out in the wild at the National or the Expo or, at some point. But up until we did this podcast, I didn't know this card even existed. So
if you find it in a dollar box, grab it for me, okay?
Hey, this is the kind of card that could end up in like a cheap thing because people don't know what they have. It's possible.
Right.
Yeah.
That is. I mean, sometimes you get those sort of things where like the dealer doesn't know what they have, or they opened it and they were just looking for the Schaefer Young Gun, and everything else just went in a quarter box or whatever. Yeah, that
it's
happens.
Possible. It does happen. Yeah, for sure.
So a couple other of the parallels, you got the Lux, which is numbered to 250, Outburst Silver, and Clear Cut, which is printed on PETG plastic. There's also exclusives, which are numbered out of 100. High gloss, which are numbered out of 10. Outburst red, which are numbered out of 25. Outburst gold, which are 1/1s, and printing plates, which are 1/1s. No surprises here. All of these were in Series 1.
We should go back to that slide just to point
Yep.
out that the some of the Young Guns cards featured teammates on there, and in this
I think
case,
only one. I think just this one.
right. Last year, I think there was 2.
Mhm.
And clearly they have the Step Brothers pose in it, which is kind of funny. And also makes this card, I guess if you're a Schaefer collector, more collectible, but also it's kind of like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, kind of funny. It's hokey, but it's in this case, it might be fun and it might be a reason to collect the card that you might otherwise ignore. That's all.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like it when they do funny stuff like that. They did one with the Jack and Quinn Hughes in it was in their second series of they didn't call it Bloodlines. It was called I should know this now. They're the ones that had the 2 brothers on the same card.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The name escapes. But yeah, in that kind of vein.
Oh, Sibling Sensations.
Right.
God, I should. Okay, so humble brag. So when Upper Deck did the first series of Sibling Sensations, they had me write the card backs for that. That's why I'm embarrassed that I can't remember the name of the set for the only time I got to write hockey cards in my life. not counting a Puck Junk Bad Hockey Card Hall of Fame set that I make and give away. Not counting those, like actual cards that like people got at like a card shop. They were free giveaways, but still, I'll take whatever I can.
Exactly.
Sibling Sensations. All right, so they also did holiday hanger boxes for Easter. These were Walmart Canada exclusives. They cost $30 per box. You get 12 packs per box, but only 4 cards per pack. So they're basically like dollar store packs. Because whenever I find Upper Deck cards at the dollar store, you get 4 cards in a pack, if they even make them anymore. And then the base cards in Young Guns have a green Upper Deck logo in the corner instead of the silver logo. And then the Dazzlers are purple. So, yeah. I mean, cool, I guess. I don't know. Do I really want a parallel of the base cards?
It just gives another element in retail for people to chase, and because they're Canadian exclusive, it's people in Canada love these. I mean, give credit to Tim for pointing this out for a second year now that these just popped up in retail like over Easter, and people are like going crazy for them, right before Easter. So, it's Easter egg kind of thing. But I guess if they do it again next year, it's not a surprise anymore. But I have to suspect that they sell pretty well in Canada.
All right. So the good, the bad, the ugly about Upper Deck Series 2. So the good, clean base card in Young Guns design. Great photography on many base cards. 3 inserts per pack. I still think the Encore inserts look good. And I still think the Outburst parallels look nice. The retail packs are not too expensive. And, I will say, I said this about Series 1. I'll say it about Series 2. I like the QR codes on the sizzle reel inserts. You photograph them. They take you to a video highlight. I think that's cool. But the bad news, lower Young Gun ratio in retail packs. Dazzlers are still underwhelming. Questionable collation. Base set will not be easy to complete. And in the ugly, we're looking at hobby packs at over $20 each, and those portraits, which are ugly, like literally ugly, not just figuratively ugly.
Yeah, I'll just add to say that I agree. And this may be one of the few products where maybe buying retail, if you're looking for the base cards, build a base set, is the way to go.
Yeah, or even if you want to get, or if
you can still get Young Guns. You can still get Young Guns off of it.
Yeah, if you buy 4 collector's tins, that would be $240, which is the same as 1 hobby box. you would get you'd get 8 to 12 Young Guns, and you would get 32 packs instead of 12 packs. That's why I just don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, why? Like, yes, I get it. Some of the inserts are easier to come by. You have, you're going to get, if you're going to pull that White House card, it's going to be from a hobby pack, not from a retail pack.
But it's a lotto ticket. That's a lotto ticket. You're not going to get that. Right.
Yeah. So overall, final thoughts. I mean, I think the set looks good. It looks like Series 1. I thought Series 1 was okay. I mean, I'm going to collect it because there's very few sets. Upper Deck, Metal Universe, and to a lesser extent, OPC. Those are the 3 sets that I build each year. Sometimes MVP, because when MVP comes out, I'm like, new hockey cards. Oh, maybe I'll buy some. Oh, I'm so close to a set now. I'll just finish the set. Oh, I'll just wait until the MVP rookies are on e-pack, right? Like, and then just complete it, right? Like, so sometimes I get sucked into that. But like Upper Deck Series 1, Series 2 Extended Series, that's the set that I'm always going to try to complete or do the best I can. Maybe I'll never get all the Young Guns, but I'll always try to get all the base cards. And, I put that and Metal Universe are like the 2 that I'm always going to try to build.
I'll add to say I collect the only base cards I collect the base sets of is a flagship. So yes, I will get this set one way or another. The beginning of the podcast, we talked about maybe being too academic. If we're going to do that, then I'll give it a B for a solid effort. Photography is amazing. It's great. And I hope they continue doing that going forward. Other than that, I mean, it is, other than Series 1 and Extended, this is, a big part of the hockey hobby. You have to get this set just to rip it. And if you haven't gotten it yet, you can open it in time for the playoffs, which is always fun.
That'd be fun if we graded the different inserts. Like, this one gets a B, this one gets a D, this one gets an F.
Average it out. Then you average it out.
Yeah, average it out, right? Yeah.
Maybe for Extended, we'll do that.
Yeah. Hey, what were your best subjects in high school as we wrap it up?
English and history.
No
surprise. Given my career path, I guess. Math and science, my worst.
For me, my best subjects were art and English. Go figure.
Well, so you're a designer. You're a designer.
Yeah, I'm a writer and a designer, so art and English just fits.
Which that tells people that chart you had earlier in the podcast, that was some pretty advanced math for both of us.
Yeah, it was just basically taking one number and dividing it by another number.
Hey, you'd be surprised. Journalists mess that up all the time.
Yeah. All right. So any last thoughts before we wrap this one up?
No, it's great to jump back into it, and makes me excited to go out and get some hockey cards.
Yeah, it was exciting. It was a good comeback episode. That said, thank you for listening to the Puck Junk Hockey Podcast. As always, if you've enjoyed the show, please be sure to like and subscribe. Please tell your friends who collect hockey and are looking for a hockey card podcast. If you'd like to support this podcast, you could do so by purchasing a t-shirt at shop.puckjunk.com. And if you'd like to read, check out the newsletter at puckjunk.com/newsletter. And until next time, collect what you like.